Hello ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you in yet another episode of Little Modular. Today I have pleasure to present you this new module by Expert Sleepers called ES-8, and this is USB audio interface. Now you might ask, what's the big deal here? I mean, we have plenty of those on the market, don't we? Well, yes, we do, but this is a special kind of USB interface because it's meant to provide you with all the necessary means to connect your modular world and computer system flawlessly, effectively, without any hiccups. Meaning, it takes anything you throw at it, literally. It takes audio, CV modulation, triggers, gates, you name it. Because usually, when you try to combine those two worlds, it's a huge hassle. All the calibration of the audio interface, matching the modular signals with the studio signals. You know, I've been there, I've done that. It was a nightmare. And it's an opposite experience with the ES-8. It took me literally 60 seconds to connect this thing to a computer and to get this thing going. If you know what input and output is, and you know what a USB cable is, that's all you need to know to operate this thing. You simply stick one end of the USB in here, other end goes to your computer. In my case, it's a MacBook Pro, and you're done. You just need to choose audio interface in preferences of your DAW, and you're done. For now, it only supports macOS and iOS devices like iPad or iPhone, but I was told by Andrew Ostler, the main designer at Expert Sleepers, that he is working on Windows drivers as we speak. So hopefully these will be available soon. The other thing that's really important is that it works with all the software that's capable of sending any kind of signal modulation from the computer. And I'm talking about things like Reactor Blocks, Softube Modular, or in my case, it's CV Toolkit by Spectral Audio. And of course, the native Silent Wave suite of plugins that is provided by Expert Sleepers, which is an excellent choice. Although really advanced, and for some users, it could be a challenge. That's why I decided to use the CV Toolkit by Spectral Audio for my purposes, because it's easy to use, and you can also download it. It's for free from Spectral Audio site. It provides you with LFO, sample and hold, envelopes, some offset, and it's really straightforward. As for inputs and outputs, you get 16 outputs and 12 inputs. 8 of the outputs are on front of the module. You can see 8 of the jacks right here. Of course, each of the jacks, as in other Expert Sleepers modules, has the colorful LED that indicates strength and polarity of the signal, which can be really helpful. 4 of the inputs are also accessible here, and the other 8 inputs and outputs are available through added sockets located here. If you have some other Expert Sleepers modules, or if you have some preamps or some other audio cards that have the added connectivity, you can expand this to really monstrous in and out system for your computer. But for now, I'm gonna stick just with the ES-8, as for me it's more than enough, and you'll see why. Now, for the purpose of this presentation, I have prepared a simple Ableton Live set that hopefully will show you how powerful and flexible this module is. Now, let's take a look at the first track here. Now, as you can see on this track, I have drum rack. This drum rack has only one pad, one sample. It's a simple trigger. I just recorded some trigger from my modular trigger signal, and I have put it here in the drum rack as a sample, which effectively allows me to transform this into a sequencer. As you can see right here, it's routed to output number 1 on Expert Sleepers, and I have a simple clip here with few notes, few triggers drawn. And you can see here are the notes triggered. Okay, right there. It goes to output number 1. You can see the LED is flashing every time a trigger is sent, and this output is connected to Erica synth voice gate input. So it triggers what you're hearing right now is Erica synth voice synthesizer. If we go to the second track and we scroll down, here I have an instance of CV Toolkit Mini, which I have mentioned earlier. And here you have the LFOs, sample and hold, and I have chosen the envelope. And I'm sending this envelope to output number 2. So now whenever I trigger this clip with the envelope and I put up the amount of modulation on Erica Synths, you can hear it's modulating with this envelope. I can change the time of the envelope, like smaller release, you can hear it, or longer release. Okay, now if we go to channel number 3 and actually channel number 4, what I have here is instance of Silent Way, so the native plugin by Expert Sleepers, voice control. It does what it says, so it sends, among other things, trigger, it sends envelope, and it could send the voltage for 1 volt per octave on Erica Synths. You need to calibrate it first, but you need to watch a tutorial on Expert Sleeper's site on how to do that. We're not going to waste our time here on this. This one is already calibrated. So let's say I want to stop this trigger right now. On this track, I have chosen my computer keyboard as a trigger. So if you look at channel number 4 output, whenever I press the keyboard, channel number 4 lights up. Of course, you can use any other controller like a MIDI keyboard, or you can assign a MIDI pad, whatever you want. I need to change the cable because it's connected to Erica synth voice, and I want to trigger this synth voice now with the keyboard. So channel number 4, when I press the keyboard, as you can hear now, it triggers my synth. So 3 and 4, gate and pitch modulation. Okay, simple. Now if we move to the next track, which is labeled LFO, now I have another instance of CV Toolkit. This track is routed to number 5, output number 5, and this signal, this LFO, is connected to FM in modulation on Erica Synths. So now again, I want to switch the cable, so it triggers my synth automatically. I just need to trigger the clip again, and now you can see if I go here, I have an LFO. I have to change the amount of modulation. You can hear some FM modulation, right? Now I can take this LFO and I could make it slower, so you can hear different effects of it. I can of course change all the other parameters like LFO wave, all the usual stuff. Now we can go to the next track, which is number 6. So I'm routing this to external output number 6, but input is taken from input number 3, which is Erica synth voice. Now on this channel, I have an instance of reverb. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to use Ableton Live effect on this modular synthesizer. So simple, again, all you need to do is just take care of the inputs and outputs, and you're pretty much done. Let's stop this madness, and now let's take a look at the next channel. This is a vocal channel. So what I have done here is I have routed the signal from my microphone in to input number 1 on Expert Sleepers, and it's routed to external output number 7, and this output goes to Belgrade filter by Chaos Devices. So what I'll be doing here, I will be processing vocal signal with filter delay from Ableton Live, which is on the track already, but also with the modular filter that I have mentioned. So when I speak to the microphone, you can hear that it's processed by the filter and also by Belgrade right here. Really easy, really fast, works like a charm. Okay, so now I will show you how to use that thing with iPad. So as you can see, all you need to do is to buy this little adapter that will allow you to connect the USB cable from ES-8 to your iPad. It goes for around 3-4 euros, so it's really cheap. I have a second generation iPad, and sometimes when you connect it, it will tell you that iPad is not compatible with this accessory, but actually it is, and it works like a charm also. The principle is the same as with a computer. You can use whatever app, effect, synthesizer, sampler supports external audio and external inputs and outputs. It even works with audio bus, which is really interesting. It doesn't make any sense to present you with all the apps because it's up to you what you're going to throw at it. But I'm going to show you some of my favorite examples. First of them is a sampler. This application right here. Now, let's say I would like to record something into one of the cells. I simply tap record input, and I just say some random stuff to the microphone. Okay, let's press stop, and you can just play with it, just like usual. Easy, that's what we like. Okay, now what about my favorite synthesizer, Animoog? What about if I wanted to add some character to it? I'm going to connect the output to the filter I have told you about before, the great and mighty Belgrade filter. And I have connected the output of the filter to the mixer. And that's what happens. So you can add some spice on the fly and play with your favorite software and your favorite hardware. Best of both worlds. Really great combination. Sorry, I just got carried away. But now let's go back to our presentation. Now, my favorite application for iOS and ES-8 is an oscilloscope, which is the thing that I was always missing in my studio, and I never really bothered to buy a hardware one. So I decided to buy an application which cost me around 5 or 4 euro, I believe. You just fire it off, wait a few seconds. Now you can see it discovered both channels, and I turn it up, and a really neat oscilloscope that you were always missing. Now, these are just few examples I have shown you right now. You can just imagine how vast and flexible this thing actually is, and how easy it is to use. I mean, that's the most important thing to me. It actually started to make sense to combine those two worlds, because you can save all the presets, all the modulation, LFO, envelopes, and it's cheaper if you actually realize how much a good LFO costs in a modular world or a sequencer. And you can imagine that you can have all of this stuff in your computer and you can save it, and it's practically for free. Then it makes this module a no-brainer. So at least try it, but I bet when you try it, you're gonna buy it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. I see you next time. Bye-bye.